Hey Ray, this is James from Basis Theory, and I just wanted to show you a quick example of how you can start to protect your bank information, your users' bank information, and help you kind of quickly come up to par with the new notch regulations that are requiring businesses to start to encrypt all of their bank data at rest. So what we have here is just a super simple node API that's allowing you to create a new bank account. So this would be like your user comes in, enters their information, and then you're trying to store that bank data in your database. So we just have a simple a variable here that's going to act as like where this would really be where your database is, for example. And then finally, we're just going to, allow somebody to kind of call the API and pull that account number back out. And when we do this, I had some prep work. So basically just, allowed or pulled in basis theory already and also express just to make creating that API kind of streamlined to start with. So first off, we'll just kind of kick off the run here. And then as you can see, we just have a simple API call that's going to allow us to create that bank account and routing number. So I'm going to click that, and that returns a 200 OK. And then we can basically just pull that account back out of the database, or in our case, that variable. So the first thing we're going to do is we kind of want to start to replace the storage of this with a basis theory account. So the first thing we're going to do is pull in basis theory as a new variable. And when we do that, we will also need to go out and get a new API key. So the first thing you're going to do is we need a place to kind of store the basis theory reference. So this is basically just our API. And basically, once you initialize it with an API key, that's where you'll start to create tokens out of. So the first thing we do here is initialize basis theory. And then this is where you'll end up putting your API key, and we'll go get one of those here in a second. And this will wait, like we want to make sure that all of our calls can be kind of chained off of each other, so everything returns a promise within our node SDK. So we'll just add an async here to get that await to go away. So when we're done loading up our application and our API is kind of fully spun up, the intent is to go and get one of these basis theory references. So next thing we'll do is we'll go to our portal. I have a brand new tenant here just to allow us to start from scratch. And first thing we'll do is we'll create a new application. So this is a server-to-server application. It's basically our backend. And what we'll want to be able to do is be able to do a bank read, a bank create, and also a bank decrypt. And what this means is this allows us to create a new bank token. This allows us to kind of read that non-sensitive data, and then bank decrypt allows us to actually decrypt and get the raw values back from our application. So we'll just call this test. So now once you copy this API key, now we can use that API key back in our application to initialize. And then finally, the last thing we're going to do now that we have a full initialized basis theory application is we're going to actually create a new token from within basis theory. So we're going to call this new atomic bank, and we're going to call into basis theory atomic bank. And an atomic bank is just a combination of the bank account and routing number kind of combined together into a single schema, or you could think of it as kind of like a group of tokens, for example. So the first thing we do here is create that. You're going to pass in a bank object, and then inside of that, we're going to pass the routing number and the account number into it. So what this is allowing us to do is basically just tokenize these two values. They'll be encrypted in a certain set of basis theory, and then once we get that reference back, we'll actually store that in our database, or in my case, just this variable at the top. So same thing here, we return promises everywhere. So you'll just want to either wait for that, or do it then on your promise. So the first thing now we can start doing is we can see an example of what creating a new basis theory account is. So our application should have automatically restarted. And now if I go back, when I create this bank account now, what's actually going to happen is oops, and oh, I called the wrong method here. Basistheory.com, atomic banks, my bad. So I was just calling the wrong method. These are plural, not singular. So when I do that, now what we get back is same thing. We get a 200 back. And then when we get this bank back, what's going to happen is we're actually going to get what the basis theory API responded with. So the cool thing about this is it returns the maxed information here, and allows us to display that back to our users, or store that in our database, and then along with this identifier, which is the combination of kind of both of those two routing number and account number tokens kind of tied together. So I'm going to now, instead of just going straight to the get, because I think this get function, what we want to really come back is the raw value. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of add a little helper method here for get mask. And what we're going to do is just return the bank here. So what's happening is I just want to be able to, maybe display back to my users the mask data instead of that full account number and routing number. And when I do that now, if I do get mask, what I'm going to get back now is just the raw values. Oh, and it didn't work. Account bank. Oh, I restarted my application, so I have to create a new one. And now we can get a bank. Yep. So you can see here that we're just returning that masked account number and then the full routing number back to them. So you can display the logo or whatever else you would want to them. So now let's go back, and what we really want now is for this account number to be reading from the raw value out of the basis theory account. So we will kind of start to pull that out of the basis theory API, which what you'll do is you'll want to decrypt that value, banks, and then retrieve decrypted. And then we're just going to pass that account ID right into our decrypt method. So what this is going to do is it's going to go out for the new one that we created. Again, this will be coming right out of your database. So you'll pull that identifier out of your database. You'll tell basis here, hey, I'd like to get that one back and decrypted. And then the bank object is where that raw data is stored. So now, once we're done with that, again, we got to have async here because we return promises. And finally now, when I go and create this bank this last time, so let's just add a little identifier here just to make sure we're using a brand new application. We get a 200 back. So now if I do the get mask, you'll be able to see that, I have that new account number. And then finally, if I call get, you can see that now I'm getting that full account number and routing number back. So you can see that, in under 10 minutes, we were able to take, an existing application that had an account number and a routing number stored in plain text in the database, replace that with a basis theory token, and then go back and be able to easily return that mask back from your API, and then also decrypt that information and return it back to your users as well for ACH files, or just being able to show them the full account number and routing number. So if there's any questions or you need any help, feel free to reach out directly to me at james@basistheory.com, or hit us up from our contact form at basistheory.com. All right, thank you very much.